Hi guys, this is Chris Morton from binaryoptions.net.au, and in this video I'm going through the best brokers for Australian traders and also the best Australian based brokers for Australians. So first thing is that every single broker out there accepts Australian traders. There is not one broker that I know of that doesn't accept a trader who is a resident in Australia. So that leaves a lot of brokers out there to choose from. And as an Australian resident, which broker do you choose? So the way I like to look at it is that with all things being equal, for example, just say every single broker has the same expiry times, the same software platform, the same return percentage, the same banking methods, then I would choose an ASIC-regulated broker. So my reasons for that is that the ASIC license given to a company who runs a binary broker has to be based in Australia. So they have to actually go through all the company setup in Australia, and then they actually have to have the financial license. And to get that financial license, that company has to go through a lot of different procedures. Probably the most, I guess you could say the most strict or the most comprehensive compliance procedures to actually just have the company up to get that license. So as a trader, that means that you have the most safest and secure environment to trade in. So to me, that should be a high list on your priority. With everything else being the same, then this tops everything else. So I recommend you should choose an ASIC regulated broker. So I'll go through a few pros and a few cons with actually choosing an ASIC regulated broker. So the pros are you're dealing with a local financial regulation. So you're dealing with ASIC, who is based in Australia. So you can physically go and visit an actual office. You can call them on the phone. You're going to be in the same time zone. And also the actual company, given the license, is exactly in the same environment. They're going to be in Australia on the same time zone. There's a certain set of steps to go through any issues that you may have with the broker or your account. The second one is fund security. You're going to be, first of all, your actual client funds are segregated. They're not, all your deposits and profits are sitting in a separate bank account to the actual company's own internal operating money. That's in a different account. So they're not intermixed. And that's actually overseen by ASIC as a compliance procedure. So you've got that fund security, and most likely you'll be, I think probably 100% will be banking with an Australian based bank as well. And they're some of the highest rated banks in the world. Another thing you might not know is they enforce same day withdrawals. Granted that your account is 100% verified, then they actually have to give your withdrawal within 24 hours. Not many brokers do that, so that's a key thing to picking an ASIC regulated broker. All right, so moving on, they're all the pros. What are the cons? Okay, so as I mentioned before, with everything being equal, you'd pick an ASIC broker. But unfortunately, there's only two brokers out there that have the ASIC license, that being high-low and core liquidity markets. So with high-low and core liquidity markets, they both have limited banking options. They both have limited expiry times. You can only trade on their particular platform. So there's no spot option platform. There's no tech financial platform, to name a couple. So if you really like that platform and it's a must in your trading environment, then you simply can't trade with an ASIC regulated broker. Also, the returns might not be the highest in the industry. So I'll move to my actual broker spreadsheet. And I'll bring up, I'll just do a filter, and we'll bring up all the brokers that have an ASIC license. So you'll see here, there's two companies. They're both based in Sydney. One's an actual Forex broker as well, called Liquidity Markets, whereas High-Low is actually just a standalone binary broker. And you'll see the software here for High-Low is on Markets Pulse, and the actual their software is actually a proprietary software. It's their own in-house software, and you can go through the minimum deposits there. You can look through all there, but you can see here the banking options. So you'll see here with High-Low and Call It Liquidity Markets, you only have a limited banking options. You can choose credit card, wire, net teller. So if you really just want to trade and deposit with PayPal or Skrill or Poly, or they're probably the other ones that are real valid ones, then you're going to be stuck and you can't actually trade. But I really think that because you're trading with such a secure broker, that a credit card or wire is quite a safe way to deposit and withdrawals. So that might be a moot point. And then hence I'm, I guess, exercising or showing or highlighting the good things about trading with an ASIC-regulated broker. Okay, so if you really are not happy with the limited options of an ASIC-regulated broker, the next best thing, with all things being equal, is to trade with an offshore licensed broker. Okay, so there are a few different jurisdictions out there. The two biggest are, in my opinion, the New Zealand Financial Service Provider License or Regulator and the CySEC license. So the New Zealand one is obviously granted by the New Zealand government, and the CySEC one is granted by the Cyprian government, which covers the EU region, and the New Zealand one covers the Australasian region. So we'll go through the pros of that. So you're going to still be getting fund security, client fund segregation, much similar to an ASIC one. You're going to have more platform choices, so you can choose your spot option platforms, you can choose your tech financial platforms. You're going to have more expiry times that come with those platforms, and you're going to have more banking options. There's just more choices there for you in general. So the cons are that you're dealing with a company that has no local presence in Australia. So the company can be based in either the UK and have the Cyprian license. The company can be based in Cyprus. The company can be based in New Zealand. And, you know, they're not here in Australia. And they're also, the CySEC in New Zealand have different rules and compliance procedures that to of ASIC. I'd say ASIC's the toughest to actually get that company, whereas the CySEC in New Zealand license, it's not as tough to get that particular license. Still, there's a lot of things in there, a lot of compliance procedures that you still get with that are similar to the ASIC ones. So there's some of the reasons there. So let's move on to the brokers to choose from there. So there's actually quite a lot. You've got the top two that I like are Bank to Binary and Binary Tilt. If you go over to my list and just scroll through the list, you'll see there's just absolutely, we've got here right there over half a dozen brokers with the CySEC license, and you've got different software platforms. You've got Spot Option, Trader Logic, Keystone, Paragenetics, some proprietary ones like with OP Tech and IQ Option. Also, there's the New Zealand license. You've got two to choose from. You've got, and they're both on Markets Pulse there as well. And over, you can see the banking options really open up. You're going to be have access to deposit and withdrawal via Skrill, via NetTeller as well with some of the options, even PayPal. So with binary tilt, you can actually deposit and withdraw via PayPal. Okay, so we'll go back to I guess more reasons why you may not want to trade with an offshore broker is that again, they might not actually, even there's more choices in platform expiry times, you still might not like what that particular broker has to offer. So there are a few unregulated brokers that I think that you can feel safe to trade with. You're going to be getting more platform choices, more expiry times, more banking options, and a better rate of return range as well. But you really need to be aware of who you're actually, trading with. So these brokers, they have no financial license. They do have a company set up somewhere, obviously to operate, but to set up these companies is very minimal to do. Anyone could basically set up a company here in, if it was to set up a company in Australia. But most of these companies would be set up most likely in offshore locations where they actually don't even pay any tax. That can be places like the Seychelles or British Virgin Islands. But that's not all the case. Some companies actually set up in the UK and have no financial license as well. So with that, when it comes to maybe having an issue with the broker, you basically have to mediate your complaint or request via direct interaction with the support staff over there at the broker. You can't go to a third-party financial body and try and get something resolved there. So that's what you're opening yourself up to there with trading with an unregulated broker. So there are some unregulated brokers that I do recommend and have a good reputation for the most part, and that would be Cherry Trade and Go Options. They're both on spot option platforms, which I think is the best platform. It's just a pity that no particular brand has come down and established a local presence here in Australia, and to have that, I guess, security that comes with having a licensed broker. All right, so they're the best brokers for Australians, and also the best Australian brokers. So I also wanted to basically go through a bit about why a broker actually gets a license, or what it means to you, the trader. So as a trader, it's not actually illegal to actually trade with a broker that has no license. It's up to you, the broker. The Australian government can't actually stop you from trading with an unregulated broker, or even a regulated broker in another offshore location like Cyprus or New Zealand. All they can do is recommend that you trade locally, for the reasons that I said, is that when it comes to any issues with the broker or having the security of the funds, you can just sort of rest assured that you're trading in a safe environment. Doesn't mean to say that these unregulated brokers or offshore regulated brokers are going to pull any Swifties on you, but as you see, if you do any Googling out there, you see there's a lot of brokers out there that have a lot of complaints against them. Whereas I think you'll find the ones that I'm suggesting to trade with have, for the most part, very good reputations, and if there is been any complaints against them, most likely they are resolved, and it's a misunderstanding that has come with the trader not understanding the terms and conditions of what they actually joined with. So guys, I hope this has helped you out a bit with deciding, especially if you're in Australia. If you're actually not from Australia, these rules would still apply to where you live in the world. You're going to be choosing, just say if you live in South Africa, you can actually choose to trade with, say, binary tilt, which has New Zealand regulation. So the same thing is going to be, you're actually dealing with an offshore company with a broker and a license that's offshore, but you don't have any local broker that I know of that is actually regulated in South Africa. I don't even know if South Africa has an actual financial, setup that can actually allow, and it's, and a company has to have a local presence there. So it's just not feasible for some companies to have a local presence in every particular country around the world. They just basically, that's why a lot of companies will set up in Cyprus, because it's just a lot cheaper in terms of operating a company from Cyprus than it is in, say, in Paris or London, where it's a lot more expensive to live and it's more expensive for the employees. So that's why you'll find a lot of companies are set up in these other countries, that it's just a lot more feasible for them to run their company. So it's just a few more things to think about when you choose a broker. So if you have any questions about my video, if there's anything that's not unclear, please comment below this video or comment on my Australian Brokers page on my website, and I'll hear from you soon. So until next time, may all your trades be profitable.